Hey everybody, welcome to another Divinity video because I like Divinity. and playing Original Sin made me realize we should play Dragon Commander as well. Because Dragon Commander is an interesting piece of Divinity history for Larian Studios. Because they were developing this alongside Original Sin 1. Both games were being developed at the same time, if I remember the history correctly. Let me double check myself on that. But I believe that is the case, that these were both being developed alongside each other. With this being the game that was kind of the easier one to get done, sort of, because it was so they were developing these side by side, because this came out in 2013, Original Sin came out in 2014. So the way that it kind of went down is they were making both because they had Original Sin as their big project that was being kickstarted by the fans, and then they had this one as their smaller project that they could kind of get out on a more quick time and schedule. And this one, because of that, because it was the let me double check myself again. Okay, so originally this was supposed to be the bigger project, but however, that kind of shifted. This is all according to Sven, who is the CEO of Larian. Sven apparently finds this game unsatisfactory in terms of like how it was released, but I love Dragon Commander. I think it's a fun blend of multiple different types of games, and you'll see what I mean once we start it. But by that I mean it's an RPG, it's a RTS, it's an FPS. Just trust me on that. We're gonna run the game. We'll do story, campaign, and no, why would we name it my laptop name? Will be me. Actually, Bayalak. Lord Bayalak. And because I just feel like it, we'll keep it casual. What kind of dragon we want? I feel like the easiest one to kind of play as is the Saber Dragon. It's the more balanced. Mountain Dragon is your heavy hitter. Zephyr is a little bit more magic based and is a little more life in that regard, and a little bit more of a glass cannon sort of deal. Saber kind of meets the middle, where it's got the magic and tankiness to it. So we'll go with that. You also get certain technology that's already ready to go based on that. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay. There's a reason we're picking our dragon, and it's a very important reason that, once again, you will see as the game goes on. Like, there are things that, until the game has moved forward, just don't make sense.
Thousands of years ago, Sigurd I built incredible engines of war, and with them forged an empire. The emperor married and sired many children. He even had a love child with mysterious Aurora, an ancient dragon in a woman's guise. Once united, peace was declared in Rivellon, and bloodshed soon forgotten. But Sigurd's realm of peace was shattered when his own sons and daughters rose against him. War returned with a vengeance, and annihilation reached new heights. Desperate to safeguard Sigurd's legacy, the wizard Maxos sought the help of the one child that never betrayed his father. Sigurd Aurora's son, the half-dragon prince. He would be the one to save the Empire from ruin, and to aid him in his quest, Maxos delivered unto him the Imperial command ship known as the Raven. This is the story of Maxos and the Dragon. This is the story of the Dragon Commander.
Alright, so at the beginning of each sort of day, round, whatever you want to call it, we will get some news, and we'll get to see our popularity amongst the people. Currently, pretty neutral on us. We'll also get little bits of what's going on in the wider nation. So, for example, we see the story about our father being dead. Sigurd I, Emperor of Revelon, murdered. Sons and daughters go to war, so our half-siblings. Siblings vie for the throne, no quarter given. Undead proclaim war as punishment from the gods, which the undead are a faction that we can work with. Decades of peace end on bloody battlegrounds. War waged with terrible contraptions, elves and lizards horrified, imps delighted. Gold prices skyrocket. War not all bad, says dwarves. So the dwarves are kind of okay with the war. The undead see the war as God's wrath. And the elves and lizard folk are less happy about the fact that war is occurring. And then imps are all about it because they get to, you know, make new weapons. Scientific advancement, so to speak. And so this takes place the furthest back in the timeline, as I mentioned in my Divinity Original Sin video for part 1 of that. So watch part 1 of Divinity Original Sin for me to kind of explain the timeline a little bit. So this is why we're playing this, because I realized, oh yeah, this is the furthest back. We should probably play this at some point. So I decided, why not start now? Alright.
Welcome, noble dragon, to the Raven. This wonder of engineering. This miracle wrought in magic that has a living demon for a heart. Between the knowledge I shall pry from this infernal creature's cryptic mind, and the avalanche of tomes, manuscripts, and blueprints aboard awaiting study, we will catch up with our enemies in no time, and claim back the lands they have taken by force. Our task is monumental, but we will not have to face it alone. 2 famed generals are here already, loyal to the legacy we are trying to save, and therefore loyal to you, given time. I have furthermore enlisted the service of Grumio, an imp of devilish cunning that can fashion anything my research will uproot. Already he has created you a wonder he calls a jetpack. Talk to these men, get your bearings, and begin your conquest. If you have any more questions, you can find me in the royal chamber, which I shall use as a study. Good luck, dragon. May the divines be with you.
Okay, so I should probably explain a little bit of what he means by calling us a dragon. So as the intro showed, the Emperor had an affair with a dragon, which dragons in the world of Divinity are entirely magical in that they can appear like humans as well. And so our mother appeared as a human to him, and in human form they did their thing and had me, or the player character. So our character in this game, Bealok, as we've called him, he is also half dragon, he's now half dragon, half human, so he still has the ability to be a human, but also can appear dragon form. Aha! And so, you'll see in the game where that becomes important and why us having a jetpack is relevant. You probably saw at the beginning our dragon, us as a dragon wearing a jetpack, but you'll see how that's relevant because you might have saw that on the menu of the game. So let's see. I'll keep to tutorials because it's been a minute since I played. Left click on a character to talk with him or her. Click on the strategy globe to access the strategy map. Find Maxos in the Royal Chamber and Grumio in the Engineering Bay to research new unit types, unit upgrades, and dragon skills. Okay, so we're going to talk to this guy because he's one of our generals.
Let me tell your right of the bat bastard that I hold you in very little regard. Your father may have been a great king once, but this last decade, a crowned pig would have played the part better. He became a vainglorious fool, a sloth, and a coward. No wonder then that his own children could amass armies unperceived and strike at the heart of a kingdom in a matter of days. He tried to run, but he failed, and they slew him where he stood. Now the realm has been shattered, and vultures are picking what they can from his corpse by means of new and terrifying war machines. I'd say all is lost, but Maxos insists you are to be the one, the hero, who will take back the land we've lost. Excuse me if I laugh in derision. Still, you are a dragon, I'll give you that, and of ancient blood. Prove to me you have the rocks to do undaunted battle, and perhaps my respect may still be yours.
Do you have a name, my good man?
Henry of the House of Lancefort. More you needn't know.
Tell me about your colleague, the other general.
Edmund, he's called. A lizard of the House of Carcarus. In truth, I'd rather sleep with Syphilis incarnate than have him aboard. But there's no denying his talent. He's as arrogant as he is astute, and as ingenious as he is insufferable. Why don't you offer him a word of welcome? I know I won't.
So as you can see, these are the RPG elements that I was talking about, and you'll see that it gets even further in depth. So we're going to kind of play with that for a bit first. Where can I find this Edmund fellow?
I believe he's in the bar. Probably searching for sherry. Just about the only drink that snooty serpent will swill.
I have a name, you know, and it's not Bastard.
Aye, and you have titles as well, but none of them king, as yet. I'll address you with the right regard the day you prove worthy of it.
I shall take my leave. Alright, so as you can see, there's exclamation points here. That means there is something for our attention that we should look at before we get involved with any, you know, combat. Any strategy, the RTS side of this game. So we got the bar and the engineering bay. So the bar, as Henry put, is where our other general is. That's where Edmund is. So we can meet our other general that way. And the engineering bay, as the tutorial said, is where Grumio, the imp who will be our kind of upgrades management, that's where he's going to be. So let's go to the bar first and meet our other general. The bridge is also where we're currently located. And the Royal Chambers, as the tutorial said, is where Maxos is. Maxos has nothing for us at the moment, so we can disregard that. So this would be Edmund.
And there we have it, I suppose. The dragon son of a monarch deposed. Rightful heir to the throne, even if he was born out of wedlock. No doubt that boar of a Henry has already introduced me in his ever-elegant way. So here I am, Lord Edmund Augustus III, Duke of Hawknest Hall. I'd add at your service, but I don't think we're quite there yet. To be perfectly honest, I'd normally entertain the idea of lending my expertise to your cause as curtly as I'd consider attending a dwarven opera. But not unlike my fellow general, it is Maxos' backing of this enterprise that has me intrigued. You have doubts benefit, Dragon. Let's see how far it takes you.
I sense a lot of distrust in you, Edmund.
When one dwells among the highest echelons of power, where ambition runs thicker than blood, distrust is your best friend, as is its brother caution. In your case, though, the waters of misgiving run somewhat deeper. You are, after all, but a half-dragon. They call your kind Dragon Knights to lend an air of nobility to a lowly mixed breed. Not many make the distinction, even, but the crucial difference is in purity. Human ancestry taints your being, for humanity and weakness are two sides of the same tuppence I drop in beggars' hats. A bastard twice are you, my lord. Bastard born and bastard bred.
What is your take on the war that has erupted? Also, before I click that, the Dragon Knights is something that is in this game, but this isn't the game that introduced them. I believe they become important in Beyond Divinity, which is the second original Divinity game. So it's Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Divinity 2, this game, and then Divinity Original Sin for release order. I believe Beyond Divinity is where they introduced the concept of Dragon Knights. Divinity 2 is where Dragon Knights become very important because your player character is one as well in that game. So yeah, like I said, what is your take on the war that has erupted?
Only that it was bound to happen. For when an emperor weakens, his empire weakens with him. Now a litter of dogs is fighting for the throne, so maybe their dragon half-brother can walk away with it.
I shall take my leave. So as you can see, everybody's kind of filled with skepticism mixed with contempt at the idea of me being in charge, because it's still early in the war effort and they're kind of unsure about me, which is fair because I'm a out of left field, nobody expected this guy sort of deal. This is kind of important to show off, so we'll open this now. There are many different types of cards. Play them on countries to earn strategic advantages. Use others to increase your odds of winning battles through auto-resolve and or real-time combat. I'm going to say now, always do real-time combat. Auto-resolve in this game generally does not go in your favor, even on this like setting of just casual play. Engineering Bay. So let's see, Grumia.
Greetings, sire, sprung from kings. I am Grumio, son of Gromio, an imp of good and honest standing. Your technician, shall I be, if it pleases you. Your engineer and architect. I hope you'll like my jetpack. It is my gift to you, to keep without recompense, for gladly shall I remain aboard this wondrous ship to tinker and toy, hammer and hew. She is special, this vessel, filled with wonders undiscovered. The wizard, he feels it too. The taste, the tingle of mystery. Oh, to unlock its secrets.
Oh yeah, so this is an airship, which is common at the time of in the Divinity timeline. They become less common after this war, because of how like there's a big boom of technology during this era, and then technology just disappears. So we get this big boom, and then after the war, it kind of just droughts, and then we kind of go back to more classic fantasy with a mixture of some of the technology still about, but like technology becomes way less of a useful item in the Divinity timeline after this. Let's have a look. Let's ask him some questions first, because having to look at the research is how we upgrade. How come you know so much about all this technology stuff?
Well, my lord, when your good father and Maxos first started to conquer the world with their fancy machines, we Emps were mesmerized. None of us cared if we were being drafted into a strange warlord's empire, for if those were the weapons he wielded, we were all ready to welcome him with open arms. By golly, were we ever. Steam-driven giants on land, on sea, even in air. Oh, the ecstasy! Such wonders, such ingenuity, and jeepers, what cannons! Ever since then, some 30 years hence, us imps have dedicated our existence to the advancement of these delightful machines. Now, before those blessed days arrived, people regarded us as eccentric gnomes taken to experimenting with flame, gas, and liquid like so many charlatan alchemists. But those days are over. We are scientists now, famed and fortuitous. The truth be told, though, we've never quite given up our love for all things combustible. Rather on the contrary. Not that you mind, do you, my lord?
Alright, well, let's have a look at the results of your research.
It'll be my pleasure, my lord.
Alright, so this is the new unit types and unit upgrades can be unlocked by spending research points. The more countries you occupy, the more research points you receive per turn. So, more reason to occupy territory. Some research items are grayed out. To unlock them, you need research prerequisites first or progress further in the story. So, certain things will just not be available right away. So, yep, like this, you need to acquire the unit before you can acquire its upgrade. This is another one where we need to acquire a unit, acquire a unit. But let's find an example where story has to be, well, nothing in the basic. Probably advanced is where we're going to start seeing. Well, nothing yet. Expert? Yeah, okay, so once we hit expert, that's when we gotta, like, be advancing in the story. But right now, we've got 20 points, because we start off with 20 points. So let's go ahead and upgrade some stuff, get some new units. Let's do it. So, we'll buy that, buy that, buy that. And we're just gonna go down the tree. Alright, so we just unlocked some stuff that we needed. This is everything we have researched that we can use in the field. So you'll see in combat, we don't tend to have actual people on the field. It's all going to be like these automatons almost. Battle forges, as they're called. Oh, sorry, no, not battle forges, but they're like these automaton type units. So we got our grenadier, our trooper, and our hunter as our basic units, and then we've got like shaman who are going to be in airships. We got a transport unit. We got warlocks, and we've got anti-air turrets. So a decent start, I think. And then, of course, if you want to upgrade without having to talk to Grumio, you can just click the thing over there that I'm highlighting right now. Yeah, Grumio's in Palictical Machine. Alright, let's go to the Royal Chambers out of curiosity before we move on. This is newspaper. Tome of Wonders. New dragon skills. This is where our dragon skills can be unlocked, which I already wasted all of our points. I should have thought of that. I forgot that dragon skills also use our research points. The more countries you occupy, the more research points you receive per turn. Some dragon skills are grayed out to unlock them, so it's the same as research, yeah. And then we've got our gold here, which is how we can get units on the field. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get moving with the actual combat of this game. The real-time strategy portion. During the strategy phase, build units and buildings. Play cards and conquer countries to expand your empire and its resources. Overthrow the enemy's capitals to win. And don't forget to defend your own. When you are finished playing your turn, press the end turn button to process. Hold the left mouse button and move the mouse to navigate about the map. Use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can pick up a pawn by left-clicking on it and then dragging to another location. So you'll see that this kind of plays initially like Risk. Or even like, well, like Risk. You get this little map here where you can set your units and then you take them out towards where you want to fight. So we're gonna buy some units. We're gonna get a transport and a couple troopers on the ground. In any given country, you can only build as many units per turn as the number of gold that is earned there each round. So we get 4 gold every round, so we can only build 4 units. So we're going to do that. We're going to have transport and 3 troopers. This is for a reason. Did you notice the undo button in the upper right corner? You can use it if you're not satisfied with the move. So if we didn't like that we just built these units, we can go, I fucked it, and undo it. We're also going to see what cards we have to play. We're going to increase the gold revenue because I want to make a little bit more money this turn. And then because they are just fresh on the field, they kind of get a, like magic, they get a summoning sickness sort of deal where you got to wait a turn before you can do anything with them. They can defend, though, so I at least have some defensive units because there is a trooper right there in what country's that? Ramontel. So in this phase, you can see the moves your enemies are making. You can skip them by pressing the skip button, which we're not gonna. We're gonna. They're building a factory, some diplomacy. Uh-oh, they tried to sabotage us with genocide. Oh, they were making the move towards where I was thinking of going myself. All right. New edition of the wartime of the Revelon times. Dead Emperor's bastard son gets wizard's backing. Our man aboard the Raven, everyone's taking a breather. Which, this is the Raven. Speed kills, Maxos' magic to make our men faster. Alright. Nothing new going on. Generally, for now, nothing's going to happen until we get into our first combat and have our first victory. You have acquired a transport. You can now load units into the transport by dragging them onto it, which is the plan. Each country you conquer starts earning you gold. Additionally, the longer you hold a country, the better your defenses within that country will be. Each country is populated by a certain species. Your current popularity among the species is shown at the bottom of the screen. The higher your popularity, the more support you receive in this land. The more support you enjoy, the larger your army in a country can be during the combat phase. So, right now, we're going to keep kind of growing. We are at 80%. We're going to get some more units. We're going to add a grenadier and a shaman to the mix. That way we have a good kind of blended unit selection. See, there's a hunter there and a transport, so it would be a good move to at least send 2 of our... Oh, we already had 7... oh, I did not know that. So we're going to send... We'll send 1 there. This is a neutral country. If you capture it, immediately becomes yours, as do the country's units, should there be any. So we did that so that way we could immediately capture it. We're going to put 3 on board here. And we're going to take the transport across the sea to Illimdale, so we can conquer that as well. And we're going to unload the troops. Okay. And then... I think that's it for now, because we don't have these units yet. Because for all we know, they could start sending people from here to there and ruin it. And start a battle that we would not win. Well, we might. They only built 1 troop so far. But they only have 1 troop that they could send here. So it could balance out. we could be fine. We'll see. Oh, they also want this land. Alright, this is an overview of where battles are going to happen, which will give you final tactical insights before the fight commences. If you finish viewing the map, press the continue button to go to battle. So, we are going to be fighting for Ilumdale. Surprisingly, nobody, they didn't try for Lilialant. So, Ilumdale is getting a fight, and it looks like we've got, what? They've got 3 troops as well. So, this might be a balanced fight to a degree, although they've got enhanced engines. So, let's see what we can do to balance this out. Decide who will lead combat. Select the dragon if you want to participate in combat yourself. You can play cards to improve the odds in your favor. In single player, you can swap or remove cards by left or right clicking them. So let's see what cards we want. Let's get some shot. Well, before we drop any cards, let's see what the impact is with me leading. General's wage exceeds the amount of gold you currently have. If you decide to pay nonetheless, you'll end up with a negative balance. Okay, so because we have no gold. So we cannot bring a general into the field. We could just have the army lead themselves, but that would be bad. Henry doesn't do anything for us. So we'll throw ourselves into the ring. And then now we have a little bit more cards to decide on because we've thrown ourselves into the ring. Unlock the Rejuvenation Dragon skill for 1 combat round. Unlock the Call of Valor Dragon skill for 1 combat round. Unlock the Aura of Annihilation Dragon skill for 1 combat round. Unlock the Blood Leech Dragon skill for 1 combat round. Let's see what that does. And then we'll also get some mercenaries on our side. Try to really balance that out. Select which dragon skill will be available in combat by dragging them to your skill bar. Alright, so we got our Sabotage, we got our Soar, we got our Advance. Let's bring Blood Leech into this. And we'll start battle. And this is where we become a RTS and an FPS. And you will see what I mean. Alright, so let's, got that, we can zoom out, we can select our units,
Is that a tree?
let's
Won't
start
want any more.
moving in.
Construction in progress. We need more recruits, Commander. Let's get this dance of death started. We're out of recruits, Commander.
And there's a timer here for when the dragon can enter battle,
I will stand until my last
which is me, and you'll see what that does. How many recruits we got?
will be built in a jiffy.
Okay.
Battle forge completed. The grave be their destiny.
And we're gonna, of course, move in. We're gonna try to get them as hot and ready as we can.
Anti-ground turret completed.
Oh, and we are ready to be a dragon. So we're just gonna get them in, and time to be a dragon.
That's impossible, Commander.
We are a dragon with a jetpack. I guess third-person shooter more than FPS, but still, my point still made. And we kicked their ass before they could spawn anything, really. So, really, you're acting as, like, a straight-on leader and support for your men as the dragon, and it's great. I kind of wish more RTSs would take this approach, because I like the idea of also being on the field with my units. And you can... Oh, we got that victory, baby. That was... easy. Easy. Honestly, the game becomes so easy once you can dragon. Now, the trick is you can't dragon every combat. You can at least once every combat round. So, say there was another battle that had to be made. Say they did attack that other island or the other country that we just took over, right? I would not be able to dragon up again for that battle. I would have to count on either the Imperial Army to do it themselves, which could go poorly, or I get my generals in on it. Now, of course, that's when it becomes just only RTS, because you're going to want to make sure everything goes well. But everything went well this combat round. Victory for us. Total casualties of war now, having reached 160, because now there have been casualties of war, because there's been a battle now. Emperor's supremacy at war on resources called both questionable and fleeting. Before he was famous, we have the Emperor's childhood pictures. They got pictures of me. Our Emperor, the new sensation. Oh, I'm a new sensation? Is it because I won?
Great dragon, glorious warlord. Once more you return from the battlefield red with the blood of slain adversaries. And let me tell you, these victories of yours have not gone by unnoticed. In fact, to my great satisfaction, another pair of dauntless generals has joined our company.
I'm sorry. You're making it sound like I've been winning fight after fight after fight. This was our first actual contact, boots on the ground combat with our brother. Because we're fighting our brother in this particular round. So there's I believe there are 3 to 4 acts in this game. And in each act, we are fighting different sets of siblings. Act 1, we're fighting the easiest of our brothers, the youngest, I think, of our older siblings. And because they're all older than us. And so that's kind of how this is going. And then you'll see that in each act they kind of reset the map a bit, and they're like, okay, this is the new areas of territories that are being conquered, and now you got to deal with this sibling. Although in Act 2, I think in Act 2 and 3 they make it to where you start facing off against more of them at once, and it's not just one sibling. This is just Act 1 is like basic, like, okay, single sibling, deal with it. Let's see. But yeah, no, I have not been winning fight after fight after fight. This was our first fight. Like, I've been taking over territory, sure, but I have not been, like, going into battle.
4 military masterminds are now on board. More than enough to start a campaign of conquest on a truly grand scale. No doubt you're as anxious to meet them as they are to meet you. So why don't you go to the throne room, where I've instructed them to await your arrival?
Between you, me, Grumio, and my generals, my cabinet is now complete.
Heavens no. You have the military firmly on your side. But civil emissaries too are bound to join our cause in due time. Indeed, I expect you will be declared emperor before long. Yes, you heard me correctly. Emperor. It is inevitable. People have heard of you. The dragon. Their one hope of deliverance from war, oppression, and death. Soon hope will turn into confidence, and when ambassadors of the civilized races flock to the Raven, your political career will commence.
And we've already been technically being called emperor by the Revlon Times, but yeah, we are not officially emperor yet. And yeah, we'll get ambassadors, and that's part of the roleplay aspect as well of this game. And I believe they'll be after our next victory or after we finish the act that we get them.
You yourself will of course represent all humans, but the dwarves, elves, lizards, imps, and undead will want their say as well, and more. Still, let us worry about politics later. Today, it is your generals that count.
All right, I shall take my leave. All right, so let's go meet our new generals.
My Lord Dragon, allow me to present your team of generals. Edmund you already know, but I now have the pleasure of introducing you to Her Highness Lady Catherine, Queen of Westbridge, and Scarlet, not noble of birth, but the more so of heart. We four have pledged we will stand by you in your conquest as the rightful heir to Revlon's throne. Bastard no longer, you shall be known as Commander, until the day comes that you shall be king.
And I remember loving these next two generals. Scarlet a little bit more so, because she's... but, she hits a lot of my, types. Unfortunately, there are decisions that have to be made as an emperor where... So there are romance options in this game, and I believe you can romance your generals, but that could fuck over, like, your kingdom because, like, political marriages are also a key thing in this game.
All hail the dragon.
Hail! Hail!
Yes, well, hail.
Although Lady Catherine also fits a lot of my types now that I see her again. So this is Scarlet, this is Catherine. They both definitely fit my types. Oh no, I'm in trouble. Okay, let's talk to everybody one by one. Let's talk to Henry. See how he feels about me now that we've had a victory under our belt.
Yes, Commander?
A bastard no longer, am I?
Seemed hardly proper to call you by that particular pet name on what was somewhat of an official occasion. But don't worry, I may still slip up once or twice, even though my respect for you is in fact growing. You've got a knack for bloody brutal battle, and faint-heart never won fair victory.
I like Henry. I like all of our generals. Like, honestly, this game has a fantastic, much like the rest of the Divinity franchise, there is just a stacked set of really fun characters, and I think the generals are a lot of fun, for sure. As are the ambassadors once we get them, and oh boy.
How's it hanging, Commander? I'm Scarlet, and you're a dragon, they tell me. Always wanted to ride one of those, though I bet you're a little harder to handle than a horse. All part of the fun, though, I reckon. So give me a shout when I can take you for a spin.
See, Scarlet is dangerous. You're quite the little wildcat, aren't you?
Treat me mean, I'll scratch your eyes out. Treat me well, and I'll purr like a kitten. Your choice, Commander.
See, this game is dangerous. Okay, let's talk to Lady Catherine.
I would say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Commander. But as it stands, I must approach you with a bit of reserve. True, to know we have a dragon knight for a leader is a great relief. For such a grand creature inspires bravado in the many hearts that will have to be won so that we may overthrow the spreading dark. But then again, you are the offspring, the male offspring to boot, of a sorry line prone to decadence and corruption. The very line, in fact, that is responsible for the downfall of the Empire in the first place. Forgive me then if I do wonder, will this commander pass muster? Earn his wings? Earn his crown?
Yeah, I forgot how, like, harsh Catherine is at first. That's just how this game is, though. All these characters are very harsh, and you can eventually kind of earn everybody's trust. But you could also lose trust of others based on whose trust you're earning, because you can't appease everybody, because that's just reality, and this game really does a fine balance of the fact that you cannot appease everybody. You can do your hardest to try to balance it, but you will not be able to appease everybody with everything you do. So we're just going to ask her. I mean, I don't really care, but I'm curious.
Because they call us females the fairer sex. But in truth, we are also more cunning, resilient, refined, and downright intelligent.
She's not wrong.
Give an empire a queen, I say, and it will be ruled. Give it a king, and it will become an afterthought. For like any man, he is content when both his belly and his bed are filled with a prize piece of tender flesh. No more.
Woo!
Men are simple creatures, Commander, and should therefore be in charge of simple things only.
God, I can't see. You can't be mad because her logic is so, like, it's sound.
It's going to take some getting used to, you know, to call you Commander. Verily, I was rather opposed to the notion, but Maxos in his infinite wisdom insisted we up the level of common courtesy toward you. Commoner would have done. Commander, though, it shall be.
You like to talk down to people, don't you?
As much as it is in the eagle's nature to look down upon the world in hunt of lesser creatures, it is my genius that makes me soar high above all others. Lesser creatures indeed. At the lone top do I reside, but I would have it no other way. Those who do not understand, all but everyone, calls me a loner, thinking the word to be a pejorative. But it is on the contrary glorious to live in sweet isolation when all around you non-lizards, that is to say, inferiors, skitter and crawl like vermin. I am a solitudinarian, for my nature makes me so. And when I do have contact with those I loathe, inevitably I talk down to them as it is impossible to communicate on a level of equality when there is none to be had.
Alrighty. Alright, so that's our set of generals. They're all very likable in different ways. Henry is the big bruiser. Scarlet's your flirty, fun, wild type. Catherine is your mean one. Edmund is your other mean one, but in a I'm better than you type of mean one. The one that thinks he's above you. But so they all have their types, and they're all fantastic characters that I think that as we get to know them throughout our gameplay, you guys will come to love them as much as I have in the past playing this game. Alright. Hey, Grumio.
It's wondrous, my lord. Wondrous. The Raven, she speaks to me in my dreams. She tells me fantastic things, newfangled and new-formed. I can make them all for you if you provide the right resources.
So the Raven, the ship, sings to you?
Indeed she does, my lord. A soft voice sings inside my head, but only when I'm in the land of eyes shut and mind at rest. There, she guides me to glory. Shows me things not even wizards could dream of.
See you later, Grumio. We're not going to upgrade our technology. We got to upgrade our dragon abilities.
Never hesitate to seek my counsel, Dragon Knight. Tirelessly I study and question, in the knowledge that my discoveries will make you the mightiest dragon ever to have soared the skies.
We forgot to talk to him last round.
We too shall unite dragons' daring with wizards' wisdom. Nothing shall stand in your way.
Tell me about War and Peace, Maxos. How did we get where we are now?
That is quite a tale, my friend, so bear with me. Since the dawn of time, beautiful Rivellon has been a stage of bitter rivalry, strife, and war. Haughty humans, all too lofty lizards, dogged dwarves, erratic elves, irrational imps, dogmatic undead, and yes, wayward wizards even, couldn't forego the time it takes for the moon to wax and wane without turning to fresh violence. Peace. The word itself hardly had a meaning. It was an abstract. Until after long and dark ages, 3 men decided they had had enough. I was one of them. The other 2 were your father Sigurd, and an eccentric inventor known only, even by us, as the Architect. We knew war would continue everlasting, unless one king would stand up, conquer all feuding factions, and unite the manifold battling races under the banner of a single world-spanning empire. Easier said than done was, I believe, our initial reaction. It was the architect who provided us with the answer to the question how on earth we would go about enacting such an unparalleled enterprise. He said he had ways and means to provide your father, a battle-hardened warlord in his own right, with engines of war such as the world never saw. Technology. That was the solution. For if we could go to war with weapons so vastly superior as to be unstoppable, every opponent would have to yield before our onslaught. Where the architect obtained his strange knowledge from, he never wished to reveal. But in truth, Sigurd and I cared little for his mysterious ways. For whatever the source, our plans worked like a charm. And in a matter of years, Rivellon was ours. Yes, we had done it. We had created our empire, and your father became its first and so far only ruler. For a few precious decades, peace had finally taken on a meaning. It was a bright flash, all too quickly extinguished along the tenebrous continuum of time.
From your tell, I gather a mighty empire was created. So how come it fell so quickly?
Long have I asked myself that question. Yet the answer is as simple as it is obvious. Human nature. Love, jealousy, anger, grief. All of these emotions proved more fatal to the stability of peace than 100,000 war machines could. You see, Sigurd, the architect, and I remained close friends after our quest had come to completion. But then, one fateful day, a woman of unequaled beauty arrived at court. After but a glance, there wasn't a man's heart in the room, not aching for even her mildest attention or a most fleeting caress. Your father, though married, courted her, as did the architect. For myself, I'd admit I'd given up the very secrets of magic in return for her love, but I knew rivalry could only lead to misery. And so it did. For bitter rivals my two friends became, and when in the end Sigurd was the one to win her affections, the architect left the palace with such hatred in his eyes as to strike me as diabolical. A year their secret liaison lasted. 1 year your father and beautiful Aurora were happy together. Then suddenly she died, and it took me a long time to find out she did so at the hand of the architect. Sigurd never knew. He was destroyed by grief. The mighty warlord withered, and with him, the soul of his empire flickered like a candle in the breeze, until his own children blew it out forever, and hacked to pieces the land that was to have been his legacy.
Where is the architect now? The bastard killed my mother.
I promise I will tell you in due time. For now, I must keep silent. Please, don't press me any further on the subject.
What more can you tell me about Aurora?
Though I said I noticed from the beginning her beauty was of such perfection as to be supernatural, I soon discovered she was indeed more than human, and that the enchanting guise we saw her in was but a mask. Behind it lurked the dragon. Yes, she was one of the ancients, interested in the ways of the infinitely lesser creatures we nevertheless call civilized. She was intrigued by Sigurd, his war machines, and his empire. It led her to his castle, to a brief spell of passion, and ultimately, her downfall.
My father seems to be held in little regard by some aboard the Raven. Why is that?
No one in Rivellon, save for you, Sigurd, the architect, and I, know of Aurora and how her death affected your father. As far as most are concerned, he was a great hero who all too soon fell prey to indulgence, sloth, and alcohol, which lost him the affection of his children, and in time started the war. They are wrong, but truth will be revealed one day. Rest assured that when we finish our conquest and I can spend some leisure time in peace, I will write his history, and yours too. Everyone shall know the tragedy that befell him, and how his son, by the woman he loved, rose to save an empire.
What is our true end goal again? Well, no. Hold on. Grumio tells me the Raven sings to him in his sleep, and that the voice is female?
Does he now? There's an explanation for that, but I'll reserve it for later.
Alright, what is our true end goal?
In a few words, victory and destruction. First, we must vanquish all warring rivals for the throne. Then, we must undo the technology that enabled them to go to war in the first place. We will rekindle the Empire of Peace your father founded, and be rid of the apparatus that might threaten it once more.
Alright, well, let's see what your research has yielded.
Gladly shall I do so.
Alright, we can get at least one upgrade for now. We'll get Purifying Flames. And there we go. Alright. We are past time, so I'm going to go ahead and save. Alright, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you really like our content, check out the Patreon, which is linked down below, where you can watch our content a week before it's uploaded to YouTube. And also be sure to check out the Discord, which is also linked down below. And also be sure to check out my new role-playing game that I have dropped the SRD to, the system reference document. So that way you guys can check it out. It's free. It allows y'all to be able to play the game, and also it with the basic rules. And it also allows y'all to access the ability to create your own role-playing game content with my rule set. So you can create your own settings using the rule set. You can create your own campaigns with the rule set. All that good stuff. And check it out. It will also be linked down below. And I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.